The Andy Griffith Show, starring Andy Griffith. Howard, also starring Don Knotts.
The word Mayberry, in my opinion, equals the word love. Grew up watching PBS in my house, UNC TV, any PBS station, and always loved watching the TV show Rick Steves Travel Through the Back Doors. I realized watching that and always wanted to travel that I was also studying his show of how he made the show, how he wrote the show, how they edited the show. You know, even as a kid trying to figure out how they put a logo over a piece of video. Because, you know, back in the 80s and 90s, we didn't have editing software like that I had access to. So I was always trying to figure that out.
The following program is from NET, the National Educational Television Network.
This is PBS.
Just anything historical, any Ken Burns documentary, I just loved. And then also, I grew up in doing musical theater at my church and being in plays, and my dad's also a pastor, so my dad would tell stories every week in the pulpit at the church. And so it's part of kind of, I guess, my genetic makeup of my dad being a pastor, growing up in the arts, and then always wanting to work in television and film, of developing and learning how to tell stories. And so it wasn't until probably in college, when I was at Queens College in Charlotte, where I worked for a PBS station and really got to like be around people kind of creating, you know, documentaries and telling these kind of stories. So it's been a lifelong passion of mine. Mayberry Effect ended up being my thesis film for the documentary film program, and I ended up being the only person working on the documentary. So that was a challenge in itself, was just being the lone producer, writer,
Tonight,
editor,
nobody's had more success
everything.
in television than Andy Griffith. And would you welcome, please, from North Carolina?
So I grew up in North Carolina,
Mr. Andy Griffith.
and the Andy Griffith Show, which is what my documentary Mayberry Effect is based off of, was something that we watched on a daily basis between 5 and 6 o'clock before dinner. So I was always aware of that show.
Well, if you wasn't looking, you couldn't tell whether it was her singing or the horse whinnying. Oh, why, hello, Mayor. Well, I guess I
That show was
back
always
to,
just, you know, you could leave your kids in the room to watch it without any kind of worries or issues.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
I think that sounds real.
Oh, I think it's outstanding.
So you get into the Mayberry world and the community that I've been in for 9 years now because of my documentary. When we get together, it's just a big family reunion. We just have a good time. We just love everybody. We have all sorts of different political beliefs and different backgrounds. You know, we come from LA, we come from the middle of Indiana, we come from North Carolina. You know, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. When we come together, it's having a good time with our close friends. And that, to me, is what's important about like the community of going, yeah, we might have different beliefs and backgrounds, but we can still hang out and, you know, have a good time and eat together and share bread together and meal together and talk and laugh. So it is just a, like, I guess, a representation of what I've always had in my life, was a strong community in my church and people that I grew up with in Charlotte. And then that's just expanded on to across the country because of my documentary, that I've been able to meet all these amazing people and create a different kind of fun community to be in. I ended up meeting David Browning, who is the Mayberry deputy on a car commercial, and thought his story was really interesting because he's David Browning when he's not in character, and then he's the Mayberry deputy when he's on television doing commercials for car commercials and other companies. So I thought his split personality was interesting, and then he was from Bristol, Virginia, which Bristol, Virginia is also Bristol, Tennessee. But the town is split in itself. So they have 2 school systems, they have 2 police departments, 2 fire departments, everything's kind of split. So hearing about his split kind of personality and his town's personality was interesting. But he invited me to kind of, instead of doing a documentary about him, to come up to Mount Airy and to visit all his other Mayberry friends and kind of see this bigger picture. And so that's kind of like the genesis of the documentary, of how it started, was interested in one character, being introduced to a bunch of other characters and kind of following that ride. I think the Mayberry Effect was the biggest challenge in my career because to that point, like, I felt like I knew I could get distribution. And so the challenge of producing it, editing it, directing it, writing it, filming it, you know, doing everything was a challenge. But then it was like, how do I challenge myself to get to that next piece? You know, I can have the documentary and I can put it out on YouTube. That's fine, great, whatever. But what is that next level? Can I get it into film festivals? Okay, I got it into 39 film festivals. What happens now? After 10 film festivals, people started contacting me and saying I could sell your documentary for you. And so then it led me to Gravitas Ventures and getting distribution with Gravitas Ventures for the documentary. So that was a big challenge, but now that I've gone through that challenge and understand that process, then I have access to Gravitas Ventures for my next films, or I know what to do within the film festival circuit of how much money I need to spend to get in there, how much I don't need to spend to get it to the next level. So far, yeah, that's been my biggest challenge. One piece of advice that I would give to any DFP student about being in the documentary film program and working on your film is knowing your film well enough and to be able to defend it at any point. Work on your story, work on your story, work on your story. Keep crafting it. It's all handcrafted. Keep crafting it. If you've got something that's just not ready yet, don't show it yet, but just mold it into what you're going for, and then just ready to be able to talk about it and defend it at any point.